I never believed in ghosts. Not until the night I saw my dead sister breathing in front of me. The bass from the nightclub was so loud it felt like my ribs were shaking. Red and blue lights sliced through the darkness, faces flashing for seconds and disappearing again. Sweat, perfume, alcohol, lies, everything mixed into one suffocating air. I wasn't supposed to be there that night. I hated clubs. I hated crowds. But something had been pulling me there all evening, a strange pressure in my chest I couldn't explain. If you believe in destiny, this is where it began. If you don't, you will by the end of the story. Before I go any further, subscribe now, because what I discovered that night changed everything I thought I knew about death, family, and myself. Her name was Lily Carter. Or at least it used to be. 5 years ago, Lily, my younger sister, was declared dead after a house fire. The official report said she never made it out. They found remains so badly burned that DNA testing took months. By the time the results came back, we were already broken people, learning how to live with an empty chair at the dinner table. I watched my mother scream at a closed coffin. I watched my father age 10 years in 1 week. And I watched myself bury my sister without ever seeing her face one last time. That night in the club, I was holding a drink I didn't even remember ordering when I saw her. At first, my brain rejected it. It had to be someone else. Same height, same slim shoulders. Same way she tilted her head slightly to the left when she laughed. Then she turned. And my heart stopped. The scar above her right eyebrow. The one she got when we were kids and I pushed her off a swing by accident. The one she never covered with makeup. It was Lily, alive, whole, beautiful, and dancing like she had never died. The glass slipped from my hand and shattered on the floor, but I didn't hear it. The music faded into nothing. All I could see was her, moving under the lights, her dark hair catching flashes of neon. For a second, she looked straight at me, our eyes met. And in that instant, I knew she recognized me. Her smile vanished. Her body stiffened. And then she looked away quickly, deliberately, like I was a stranger. I pushed through the crowd, my heart slamming so hard I thought I might pass out. People cursed as I shoved past them, but I didn't stop. I grabbed her wrist just as she stepped away from the dance floor. Lily, she froze. Slowly, she turned to face me. Up close, there was no doubt. Same eyes, same faint dimple on the left cheek, same breathing pattern when she was nervous. But her expression was empty. "I think you've got the wrong person," she said calmly, pulling her hand back. Her voice. God, her voice. "Stop," I whispered. "This isn't funny, it's me. It's Ethan." For a fraction of a second, just one, her eyes betrayed her. Fear, recognition, something dark flickered beneath the surface. Then it was gone. "I don't know you," she said, louder this time. "Please don't touch me again." People were starting to stare. A security guard nearby looked ready to step in. I lowered my voice, desperate. "You're my sister. You died 5 years ago. Our house burned down. Mom still sleeps with your photo under her pillow. Please, just tell me why you're here." Her jaw tightened. She leaned closer and whispered something that made my blood run cold. "If you don't walk away right now," she said, eyes fixed on the floor, "you're going to regret it." She turned and disappeared into the crowd before I could react. I stood there shaking, my mind racing. None of this made sense. Hallucination. Trauma, a cruel coincidence. But then I noticed something. From across the room, hidden behind a group of people, she was watching me. Not openly, not directly. Every time I turned my head, she looked away. Every time I looked down, I could feel her gaze on my skin. She wasn't just avoiding me, she was afraid. And that scared me more than seeing a dead woman alive. I followed her as discreetly as I could. She moved with purpose now, weaving through the club like she knew the exits by heart. When she reached the back hallway, she slipped through a door marked staff only. I ran after her. The hallway was quiet, the music muffled behind thick walls. The smell of cleaning chemicals filled the air. At the end of the corridor, an emergency exit glowed faintly green. The door was open. Outside, the alley was empty. No Lily. No footsteps, nothing, except something lying on the ground, a silver necklace. I picked it up with trembling fingers. It was shaped like a small star, burned slightly on one edge. The necklace I gave my sister the night before the fire. My phone buzzed in my hand. Unknown number. I answered without thinking. A distorted female voice whispered into my ear, "You should have stayed away, Ethan. Some people are only alive because the truth is buried with the dead." The call ended. I stood alone in the alley, clutching the necklace, realizing one horrifying truth. My sister wasn't pretending not to know me. She was hiding from something. And whatever it was, it knew my name. Backhand index pointing right. Subscribe now, because in part 2, I will tell you what I discovered when I went back to the burned house, and why Lily's death certificate hides something no one was supposed to see. Some truths don't knock. They wait until you're weak enough to hear them scream. I didn't go home after the club. How could I? Sleep felt impossible when the dead had just looked me in the eyes and told me to walk away. The silver necklace burned against my palm as I sat in my car outside the nightclub, staring at the missed call notification. Unknown number, no voicemail, no trace, just silence, the kind that follows a threat. I started the engine. There was only one place that could give me answers. The house where Lily died. Before I continue, subscribe now, because what I found inside that place proves that some families don't lose people to fire, they erase them. The drive took 40 minutes, but it felt like hours. The road stretched endlessly under my headlights, memories flashing faster than the streetlights. Lily laughing in the kitchen, Lily stealing my hoodie, Lily screaming my name. The night smoke filled the hallway. The house had never been rebuilt. Insurance disputes, legal delays, emotional avoidance, everyone had an excuse. But the truth was simpler. My parents never wanted to touch it again. The burned shell still stood there, fenced off like a crime scene frozen in time. I parked across the street. My hands shook as I stepped out of the car. The smell hit me first. Burnt wood, rust, mold. 5 years later, the fire still lived there. I climbed over the fence, my shoes crunching against broken glass and debris. The front door was sealed with plywood, but someone had pried it open before. Recently. That should have scared me. Instead, it confirmed my worst fear. Someone had been here, after the fire. Inside, moonlight spilled through the collapsed roof, casting long shadows across blackened walls. Every step echoed too loudly, as if the house itself was listening. I walked toward what used to be Lily's room. Her door was gone. The walls were scorched, but the room was wrong. Too clean. The burn marks stopped abruptly, like someone had scrubbed part of the damage away. In the corner, beneath a pile of ash and debris, something metallic caught the light. A floor safe. My heart started pounding. We never had a safe. I knelt down and brushed away the ash. The keypad was scratched but functional. I didn't know the code, yet something made me try anyway. Lily's birthday. Enter. The safe clicked open. Inside were documents wrapped in plastic. Perfectly preserved. Not burned, not damaged, untouched. I pulled them out, my breath catching in my throat. A birth certificate, not Lily's. Different last name. Different hospital. But the date of birth matched exactly. Another document followed. A sealed adoption file. My vision blurred as I read. Lily Carter was not legally my sister. She had been adopted. And according to this file, the adoption had been illegally altered. Hands shaking, I flipped through more papers. Medical records. Psychological evaluations. Stamped in bold red letters. Subject shows signs of dissociative identity response under trauma. Memory fragmentation likely. Subject must be removed from original environment. Removed. The final document made my stomach drop. A death certificate, but not the one we were given. This one was marked, voided, reason. Subject extraction completed successfully. My head spun. Lily didn't die in the fire, she was taken out. A noise behind me made me spin around. Footsteps. I turned off my flashlight and pressed myself against the wall, heart racing. A silhouette moved through the doorway, slow, cautious. A man, tall, broad shoulders, familiar posture. "Ethan," a voice said softly. My blood turned to ice. "Dad," he stepped into the moonlight, his face older, harder, not surprised to see me. Almost resigned. "You shouldn't have come here," he said. "You knew," I whispered. "You knew she was alive." His silence was louder than any confession. "She wasn't safe," he finally said. "Not after what she saw." "What she saw," my voice cracked. "What are you talking about?" He looked at the floor. "The fire wasn't an accident." The words hit me like a physical blow. "You started it?" I asked. "No," he said quickly. "But I helped cover it up." I staggered back, bile rising in my throat. "Lily witnessed something she wasn't supposed to," he continued. "People got scared, powerful people. They said the only way to protect the family was to let her disappear." My chest felt tight. "Protect who?" He looked up at me. "You." Before I could respond, my phone vibrated again. Unknown number. A text message appeared. "Stop digging. Next time SHE won't run." I looked up, but my father was already backing away. "Forget her," he said urgently. "If you love her, let her stay dead." He turned and disappeared into the darkness, leaving me alone with the truth clawing at my sanity. As I stood there trying to breathe, another realization settled in, cold and terrifying. Lily didn't just survive, she was conditioned. Whatever they did to her, whatever she saw, they didn't just erase her past. They rewrote her. And the woman in the nightclub, she wasn't pretending not to know me. She was fighting memories that someone trained her to forget. Backhand index pointing right. Subscribe now, because in part 3, I will tell you who has been watching my apartment and why Lily left me a message hidden inside the necklace. Some secrets don't stay buried. They wake up, and when they do, they don't knock, they watch. I knew someone was inside my apartment the moment I stepped in. The air felt disturbed, like a room that had been breathing while I was gone. My door was locked, the chain untouched, but something was wrong. The faint smell of perfume lingered in the hallway. Not mine, not my mother's, Lily's. My chest tightened. I didn't turn on the lights. I stood there in silence, listening. The hum of the refrigerator, the ticking clock on the wall, my own heartbeat screaming in my ears. Then I saw it. The silver necklace, her necklace, lying on my kitchen table. I hadn't taken it out of my pocket since the burned house. I whispered, Lily, nothing. Before I go any further, subscribe now. Because from this moment on, the story stops being about answers and starts being about survival. I walked slowly toward the table. The necklace was placed perfectly in the center like an offering. Beneath it lay a folded piece of paper. No envelope, no handwriting on the outside, just my name, Ethan. My hands trembled as I opened it. Inside was a single sentence. If you remember me, they'll kill us both. The words felt alive, crawling into my skull. I spun around, scanning the apartment. Every shadow looked deeper now, every corner suspicious. Whoever left that note had bypassed my lock, my security camera, everything. I rushed to my laptop and pulled up the camera feed. The footage froze halfway through the night, corrupted, but one frame remained intact. A woman standing in my living room. Her face turned slightly away from the camera, dark hair, slim shoulders, Lily, except something was wrong. Her reflection in the mirror behind her didn't match. The woman stood still, but the reflection was smiling. My stomach dropped. I slammed the laptop shut, gasping for air. This wasn't just about memory manipulation anymore. This was psychological warfare. I grabbed my jacket and left the apartment immediately. I didn't trust the walls. I didn't trust myself. I drove aimlessly until the sun started to rise, my mind replaying everything. My father's confession, the files, the fire, the woman in the club who wore my sister's face but not her soul. The necklace felt heavier in my pocket now. I examined it closely for the first time. The star-shaped pendant had tiny scratches along the edge, not random, intentional, Morse code. My pulse spiked as I translated it slowly, tapping the patterns into my phone. Basement. Locker, trust your memory. I almost laughed. What basement? What locker? Then it hit me. The hospital, the one listed on the adoption papers. I drove straight there. The hospital had been renovated, rebranded, renamed, but the basement still smelled the same. Bleach, metal, and something rotten underneath. I followed the hallway signs until I found a row of old storage lockers, dusty and forgotten. Locker 317. It was unlocked. Inside was a small flash drive and a folded photograph. The photo showed two girls standing side by side. Both looked exactly like Lily. Same face, same age. One was smiling. The other looked terrified. My hands went numb. I plugged the flash drive into my phone. A video file opened. Static. Then Lily appeared on the screen, but not the Lily I knew. Her hair was shorter, her eyes hollow. She sat in a white room, staring directly into the camera. If you're watching this, she said calmly, it means they failed. She took a deep breath. There are two of us. My heart nearly stopped. She explained everything, the adoption, the experiments, the fire. She and another girl, Subject B, had been part of a psychological conditioning program designed to split trauma responses into separate identities. One to remember, one to survive. They called it dual anchor conditioning. One Lily remembered everything. The other was trained to deny reality completely. If Subject A resurfaces, Lily continued, Subject B is activated to erase connections. That's the one you met. My knees buckled. The woman in the nightclub wasn't pretending. She genuinely believed she wasn't my sister. And then Lily said something that shattered me. The fire was supposed to kill Subject A, she whispered. But I survived. The video cut abruptly. I stared at the black screen, my reflection staring back, pale, shaking, broken. Suddenly my phone rang. Unknown number. I answered without thinking. You shouldn't have watched that, Lily's voice said. But this time it wasn't afraid, it was cold. You're destabilizing the balance, she continued. If subject B collapses, so do I. Where are you? I whispered. She laughed softly. Closer than you think. I turned slowly. Across the hospital parking lot, under the dim glow of a flickering streetlight, stood Lily, watching me. But when she smiled, it wasn't my sister's smile, it was practiced. Empty, perfect. And behind her, reflected faintly in the glass doors, there were two shadows. Backhand index pointing right. Subscribe now, because in part 4 you'll discover which version of Lily is lying, and why one of them wants me dead. The most dangerous lies are the ones your own brain protects. I didn't run when I saw her. That was the first sign something inside me had already started breaking. She stood there under the flickering streetlight, wearing Lily's face but none of her warmth. Her posture was too still, too controlled, like a mannequin that had learned how to breathe. The smile she wore didn't reach her eyes, and yet my body recognized her. Family memory is deeper than logic. Ethan, she said calmly, taking one slow step forward. You look tired. I swallowed hard. Which one are you? Her smile widened slightly. Does it matter? Yes, it mattered more than anything. Before I continue, subscribe now. Because from here on, the story stops feeling like fiction and starts feeling like a confession no one survives. I saw the video, I said. I know about subject A and subject B. She tilted her head, studying my face the way a doctor studies a symptom. Then you already know too much. The air between us felt heavy, charged. Every instinct told me to run, but my feet stayed planted. She was 10 feet away now, close enough that I could see the tiny vein pulsing in her neck. You weren't supposed to remember me, she continued softly. But you always did, even when they told you not to. They, I asked. Who are they? She laughed, short, humorless. The ones who taught me how to forget you. A sudden sharp pain exploded behind my eyes. I staggered, clutching my head. Images flooded my mind, flashes that didn't feel like memories, yet felt familiar. A white room. 2 girls screaming. A man in a lab coat saying my name, her voice cut through the noise. Stop fighting it, Ethan, she said. Your brain is trying to protect you. I dropped to one knee. What are you doing to me? I gasped. Nothing, she replied. You're remembering. I looked up at her, panic rising. That's impossible. I was a kid. I wasn't there. She knelt in front of me, her face inches from mine. You were always there. That's when the truth finally stabbed through me. This wasn't just about Lily. It was about me. I stumbled backward and ran. I don't remember getting into my car. I don't remember the drive. All I know is that I woke up hours later on my apartment floor, my head pounding, my phone buzzing nonstop. Missed calls. Unknown number, a voicemail. I played it. My own voice filled the room. Ethan, if you're listening to this, it means the memory lock is failing. Do not trust what you feel. Do not trust her. And most importantly, do not trust me. My blood ran cold. I hadn't recorded that voicemail. My laptop was open on the table. A document stared back at me. Project Dual Anchor, Subject C, Subject C. I scrolled. Subject C served as the emotional stabilizer between A and B. Family bond implanted early to create long-term psychological anchors. I felt sick. The document continued. Subject C's memories, periodically wiped to prevent collapse of Subject A. Subject C believes Subject A is biological sibling. I slammed the laptop shut, shaking. I wasn't just Lily's brother. I was part of the experiment. The room felt too small, the walls too close. I rushed to the bathroom and splashed water on my face, staring at my reflection. For a second, just a second, it didn't blink when I did. I screamed and stumbled back. My phone rang again. This time, a name appeared. Lily A, I answered, hands trembling. They're coming, her voice whispered. This Lily sounded different, broken, frantic, real. Who? I asked. The people who made us, she said. And they won't let Subject B fail. What do you want me to do? I shouted. Silence, then softly, choose. Before I could respond, the call ended. A knock echoed through my apartment. Slow, deliberate, I backed away from the door. Another knock. Ethan, a calm voice said from the other side. We need to talk. It was her. Subject B, the lock began to turn. My vision blurred as buried memories surged violently. Hospital lights, restraints, voices telling me to forget, telling me Lily was dead, telling me I was safe. The door opened. She stepped inside. And behind her, in the dark hallway, stood 2 men in black coats. She looked at me with something that almost resembled pity. You were never supposed to wake up, she said. I realized then the darkest truth of all. The fire didn't fail. It succeeded, because Lily died that night. And the woman standing in front of me was what survived. Backhand index pointing right. Subscribe now, because part 5 will reveal who really controls the memories, and why one final trigger can kill all three of us. The human mind doesn't break all at once. It fractures quietly, until one final sound shatters everything. The two men behind her stepped inside without asking permission. Black coats, no badges, no expressions. They moved like people who had done this many times before. Subject B closed the door herself. Click. That sound felt louder than a gunshot. I backed away until my spine hit the wall. You can't erase me again, I said, though my voice shook. I remember now. She studied me carefully, like a scientist watching an experiment reach its final stage. That's the problem, Ethan, she said softly. You're remembering too much. Before I continue, subscribe now, because what happens next proves that memory can be more lethal than any weapon. One of the men pulled out a small device. It looked harmless. White, smooth, almost medical. What is that? I asked. You're off switch, Subject B replied calmly. The room started spinning. No, I whispered. You don't need them anymore. You can leave. Lily, the real Lily, is still alive. She flinched, just barely. You're destabilizing her, one of the men said. Subject A is resurfacing faster than expected. The device beeped. Suddenly the walls moved. Not physically, but perceptually. The apartment stretched, bent, folded inward. My memories began colliding like broken glass. I saw myself at age 9, sitting in a white room. I saw Lily screaming. I saw another Lily staring blankly. I saw myself nodding when a man asked, Do you love your sister? Yes, my younger self answered. Good, the man said. Then you'll help us keep her alive. I screamed and dropped to my knees. You lied, I gasped, looking at Subject B. You said I was just a stabilizer. I was more than that. She crouched in front of me again, just like at the hospital. You were the trigger, she said quietly. My heart slammed against my ribs. The bond between us wasn't natural, she continued. It was engineered. You were designed to pull Subject A back when she remembered too much. And now, I whispered, her eyes hardened. Now you're pulling her out completely. The men moved closer. Do it, one of them said to her. End it. She stood slowly. For the first time, she looked uncertain. Then my phone vibrated. A message appeared on the screen. Lily A, if they reach you, it's over. If you trust me, meet me at the river. Only one of us can survive this. I looked up. Subject B saw the message reflected in my eyes. Her breath caught. She's lying, she said sharply. She'll destroy us. She's afraid, I replied, just like you. That hit her harder than anything else. You don't know fear, she snapped. Fear is waking up every day knowing you're not real. The device beeped louder. The men stepped forward, and then something unexpected happened. Subject B shoved one of them back. Wait, she said. They stared at her. She's unstable, the other man warned. Subject B turned to me. You want the truth, she said. The real truth, I nodded, tears burning my eyes. She swallowed. There were never just 2 Lilies, she said. My stomach dropped. There were 3, she continued, but only one body. The room went silent. Subject A remembered, Subject B survived, and the third, she looked straight at me, was transferred. Transferred? My head pounded. The night of the fire, she said. They couldn't save all 3 identities, so they buried one. The realization hit like a knife. They buried me, I whispered. She nodded. You died that night, she said. Ethan Carter never survived the fire. I staggered back. No, I said. That's not true, I'm here. She looked at me with something close to sorrow. You're here because Lily kept you alive in her mind, she said. You were her anchor. Her imaginary brother. The men raised the device again. This ends now, one said. Subject B made her choice. She grabbed the device and smashed it against the wall. Sparks flew. The lights went out. Alarms screamed. Run, she shouted at me. If you want any of us to exist, run. I didn't think. I ran down the stairs, into the street, into the night. My lungs burned as memories flooded uncontrollably, moments that weren't mine, pain that didn't belong to a body anymore. My phone rang. Lily A, I answered. You know now, she said softly. Yes, I whispered. I'm not real. You're real to me, she replied. And that's why you have to disappear. The river appeared ahead, black, endless, waiting. I can't survive without you, she said. And you can't survive at all. I stopped at the edge. Water rushed below. Sirens echoed in the distance. Subject B's voice came through the phone too, somehow, overlapping. If you jump, she said, I take control. Lily A whispered, if you stay, I die. I closed my eyes. For the first time in my existence, I understood the truth. I was never meant to live. I was meant to choose. Backhand index pointing right. Subscribe now, because part 6, final, will reveal who survives, who disappears forever, and why this story was never meant to be told. Some people are born, some people are made, and some people only exist until the truth no longer needs them. The river didn't scare me. That was the strangest part. The water below was black, endless, swallowing the city lights without a sound. Wind cut through my clothes, cold and sharp, but my body felt numb, as if it already knew the decision had been made long before I reached the edge. 2 voices lived inside my phone. One was trembling, one was calm, both sounded like my sister. "Ethan," Lily A. whispered, "if you let go, I can finally be free." Subject B's voice followed, colder, precise. "If you jump, I survive. If you don't, none of us do." I laughed. Not because it was funny, because it was horrifying. Before you hear what happened next, subscribe now. Because this ending was never meant to be shared, and once you know it, you can't unknow it. I looked down at my hands. They were shaking. But were they real? Memories surged again, this time clearer, sharper, no longer fragmented. I remembered the fire, not as a brother watching from outside, but as a child inside the room. I remembered the smoke, the heat, the screaming. I remembered Lily holding my hand, and I remembered the moment she let go. That was when I understood the final truth. I wasn't buried after the fire, I was left behind. The mind couldn't save all of us, so it chose. Lily created me, not as a brother, but as a shield. "You didn't imagine me," I whispered into the phone. "You needed me." Lily A. started crying. "I couldn't survive what I saw, so I split you." Subject B went silent. For the first time, she had nothing to correct. "You weren't trained to forget me," I continued. "I was designed to absorb what you couldn't live with." A pause, then Subject B spoke softly. "He's right." My chest tightened. "There was never a Subject C," she said. "There was a memory container. Me." Sirens grew louder behind me. Headlights flashed across the bridge. They were coming, but it didn't matter anymore. "You don't need them now," I said to Lily. "You don't need me." "No," she sobbed. "If you go, I lose everything." "That's not true," I replied. "You lose the lie." For a moment, everything went quiet. Then the world shifted. The bridge faded. The river vanished. I was standing in the white room again, the original one. Lily sat across from me, not broken, not split, whole. She looked at me with eyes full of fear and love. "You're not real," she whispered. "I know," I said gently. "But you feel real," she cried. "That's because pain is real," I replied. "And you carried it long enough." She shook her head. "If I let you go, what happens to you?" I smiled, for the first time without fear. "I finally rest." She stood up, shaking. "I can't," she whispered. "You already did," I said softly. 5 years ago." Tears streamed down her face. Then she reached out and touched my cheek, and in that moment something incredible happened. I felt peace. Not relief, not happiness, peace. The white room dissolved. The bridge returned. The sirens stopped. The phone went silent. I took one step forward and stopped. Because suddenly I understood the final twist. I didn't need to jump. I didn't need to die. I only needed to be forgotten. I closed my eyes and let go. Epilogue 3 months later, Lily Carter woke up in a quiet apartment. Sunlight filled the room. Her hands were steady. No voices, no shadows, no fractures. Doctors called it a breakthrough recovery from dissociative trauma. They said the past finally integrated. They said the mind healed itself. On her nightstand sat a silver necklace shaped like a star. She didn't know why it made her sad. She didn't know why sometimes she felt like she had lost someone important. But there was no name attached to the feeling. Across town, a therapist reviewed old files from a sealed project. One line stood out. Anchor identity successfully dissolved. Subject stabilized. The file closed, the truth was buried, and somewhere nowhere I faded. Not dead, not alive, just unnecessary. And that is the most terrifying ending of all. Because if a mind can erase someone it loved, who's to say you were ever real either? Subscribe if this story made you question reality. Because the scariest mysteries aren't ghosts or monsters, they're the ones living quietly inside your own head.